Hey guys, yesterday I had a real big treat. I got to go over to a buddy of mine's auto barn and hang out for a few hours with his mechanics and a couple guys who'd been around the block a little bit, and watch them do some final preparations on the 1933 Indy car that they're going to race here next week. And I drug my camera along. I didn't get to share everything I wanted to, but really just wanted to tell a couple things quickly before I get into the video. A couple interesting things. The car has a straight 8 in it that's a Studebaker, but the team at Studebaker, it was really more of a skunkworks project. The Studebaker manufacturer didn't want to spend a bunch of money on their race team, so it was really guys sort of working after hours and that kind of thing, but they had access to all the resources there at Studebaker, so they had quite the shop to work out of. But it really wasn't a big hit with the top brass at Studebaker to spend money on that, so it was really interesting. But the motor that's in the car is a one-of-a-kind motor in that they did a bunch of modifications to their heads and I think, everything, the cam, the crank, the pistons, the crank arms, everything is not stock Studebaker. So when they rebuilt this car and the motor, they had to have connecting rods, head gaskets, all of those little items like that fabricated by hand. So this engine had a fair number of plaster casts taken of it to send off to machine shops so that they could hand make pieces and parts. I think they did some 3D scanning on some pieces that were broken that they had to remake, so they 3D scanned them and then cranked out extras. And a lot of the stuff on the car is that way, and I wish I had time to share the entire story with you, but I did get to hang out for a day, and it was really, like I said, it was quite a treat to hang out with those guys, so check it out.
We're taking a peek at a 1933 Studebaker Indy car. This belongs to my friend Augie over here, and his mechanic. There's Augie, wave. There's his mechanic George is over there. They've been doing a lot of work on this. They're going to put some new shocks on it today. It's going racing up in Elkhart Lake. Is that Michigan? Wisconsin, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, next weekend. So they're doing all their race preparations. We'll take a peek in here at the power plant. So this motor is really a one-off Studebaker motor. It's about, we'll call it a 5-liter motor, and it's a really interesting head setup, the way it breathes. The valves come straight up just like the pistons. So they sort of share the combustion chamber. You have valves here with a piston that comes up here, and the spark plug just right there at the top center. And then it's got 4 carburetors set up over there, and we'll take a look at those in just a little minute. But they're actually getting ready to fire it up here after a bunch of work and adjustments. So this will be pretty cool. Let's take a quick peek at the cockpit here. So we've got a racing setup, a roll bar in here, and it actually has hydraulic brakes now, but it used to not. They used to just be what do you call it, mechanical, and so there's an extra long brake pedal there to help get you more leverage. And actually this car used to have a mechanic or a navigator in the passenger seat as you raced it, because it slings oil out the engine. So you had a little filler tube at some point here, and I don't know, it must not still exist, but there was a filler tube over here for the mechanic or the oiler to oil the car. But we'll go around the other side here. It's pretty interesting. The mechanic actually has a handbrake, so he could assist with the braking, so all the linkage sort of connects down there. But here we go. We'll take a look here now that they've got the hood off at our Strombergs here, 4 Strombergs. And what's really interesting is there's 2 balancing lines, so they balance the outsides and the insides. And we were kind of conversing earlier, it's kind of strange that they don't connect all 4 of them, but apparently the team there at Studebaker had access to a dyno, and they found this the best. You can see the big header coming off of here, just looks like a big stainless header. And what was kind of funny, I guess they've been out racing it, and we actually get some wheel rub right there on the exhaust. So when they're in heavy cornering to the right, I guess it rubs up. But they are going to put some new shocks on it today, and I think we're going to start it up here in a few minutes.
You ready? You have oil and everything? I'm sure we do.
I'm going to put some water in. We just took a look at the old Gia with these guys, and they gave me some ideas on maybe helping her run a little bit better. These guys are, oh, check this out, I forgot to show this. The spark plug wire is all in the steel lines there. Take a look at this. Some hand-painted lettering there. This is stuff that I just think is so cool. Well, it still should. Okay, this is kind of fascinating. The distributor is down here, and it runs off a gear from the crankshaft. So I'm being told there are 3 gears, right? A cam gear, a distributor gear, and
coming off the crank.
And the crank. And so the original magneto ran 1-to-1 with the crank, and they had to slow this one down to a 2-to-1. So it's actually a belt driven with a cog belt down there. I don't know if you guys can see that. It was a pretty fascinating little setup to make that all work in there. And they did have an Msd Ignition, right? And
we tried an Msd, and just the product just didn't work for us. It would stumble when the car got hot. So
yeah, there was a heat issue, and we don't say anything more about it. But it just didn't work. So we're back to mechanical stuff here, which is always kind of nice. But when they were experimenting with the Msd, they actually got to work out the curve that they needed, and were able to custom curve this distributor here to do exactly what they needed it to do.
Yeah, we're on 26.
we're moving it to 28.
We're just going to put it where it sounds good and then see where it is. How much you want now, George? Couple? Tell me right about that thing right here. Slowing it down. Whoa! Back where we were, if that sounds like this to me. Snug it up a little bit. See where we're at, alright? So you want to set the ignition.
like a little much. Log, we're going to take off. Keep her out of the cabbage.
All right, buddy.
Good
Thanks
luck.
for coming over.
Good luck in Elkhart Lake. And what do we want to say at the end here, maybe? Don't let your meatloaf?
Keep the black side down.
There you go. All right.